Okay, I think you can all hear me now. It's been one of those mornings. It's been a rough one. I'm Steve. I'm live. I'm here in Calgary. This is Speaking Freely for Fridays, September the somethingth. I've used that term before because I just don't know what the day is. It's Friday I think it's the 30th? No, it's the 29th of September 2017. You'd think I know this by now. Anyways, so what I'm going to talk about today is all identity politics is fascist. It doesn't matter what your ideology is. If you are an identitarian, your identity politics, you're engaging in a form of fascism. Back in 2008, I lost a friend that I had known for more than 20 years. We'd gone to high school together. We went to university together. And this person and I, we had a falling out over, at the time it was MSN Messenger. I don't even know if that still exists. Doesn't matter. But it was a discussion about politics. And this other person got angry. And the only reason I could think that this person got angry is because they disagreed with me over something. And I started to think, why does this happen? And I began to realize that people, a lot of the time, people who are, I don't know, maybe it's a little insecure, maybe it's something else, but yeah, I think it's insecurity. But what they do is they invest their identity into their opinion. So if you disagree with the person, you are in effect, in their view, telling them that they're a bad person. Now, as I can attest to this, good people can hold incorrect opinions. Good people can hold opinions that are different than mine or yours. You don't need to have the same opinion to be considered a good person. So you invest, first of all, first thing you do is you invest your identity into your politics. That's what really identity politics is. And then, of course, what do? You go and you seek out other people who affirm you in your opinion, because they hold the same opinion as you. Therefore they're good people. They think you're a good person, and you end up in this big echo chamber. And then the second thing starts to occur, which is if you become active politically, you get into the whole groupthink scenario. That involves hostility to people with different views. That involves an us versus them mentality. It involves a devolution of ability to make critical decisions. Because it becomes a mutual admiration society. And you start to believe in some situations, and it's happened with some respects, a case of everybody affirming each other and how good things are, and how good they all are. And a prime example of groupthink was, in fact, just recently, November 2016. Who did all the news media say was going to win the election? Possibly by a landslide. Hillary Clinton. What happened? It was probably one of the biggest upsets in the history of the United States of America. I think it was a big surprise to everybody. There's been other examples of groupthink happening, but like, for example, Pearl Harbor is considered by many to have been an example of groupthink. And it was a failure on the part of the United States to predict it would happen. The Bay of Pigs invasion was also an example of groupthink. And just so you know, I'm getting these examples from probably what the bastion of all of knowledge and wisdom is nowadays. Although I have to admit it does contain much that is apocryphal and at least wildly inaccurate. but it's pretty cheap, i.e. it's free, and it has the word Wikipedia printed on the front page in large friendly letters. And if you've got a little bit of a discernment ability, you know what I'm referencing there when I say that. So in any case, there's some examples of groupthink, and if you've ever visited my blog, I've actually got an example of groupthink in one of my older blog posts of an example of groupthink that happened here in Calgary, and to me personally. I won't bother to go into that. But it becomes a tightly knit group of people, all working together towards a common goal, becomes a group of self-affirming, and they begin to develop a sense of their own infallibility, because everybody in the group is affirming each other's views. So you get that, and you get the hostility towards outside groups, and you get a sense of unity. And it doesn't matter if this is a left-wing or a right-wing group. This is what identity politics is. It's a invested identity in the ideology. It's groupthink. And with that comes the hostility towards outside communities. The sense of us and them. And then, of course, you get into the whole issue of trying to shut the other groups down, because they're obviously, in your view, they're obviously supporting the wrong point of view, and they're inherently dangerous because of it. And it's a load of crap. But this is exactly what happened in the early 20th century. Mussolini used this to his advantage to come to power in Italy. And his whole premise was he was the one who coined the term fascism, because he bases it out of the idea of a group of, I've said this before and I'll explain it again, a group of sticks or twigs bundled together in a form of club known as a fascia. Together we are strong. As a brotherhood, as a family, as a group, we are the chosen ones. Does this sound familiar? It's almost religious in its sounding. And only I can lead us to the promised ideological land. That's the idea. That's the whole basis of fascism. And we have to fight those who oppose us. We have to tear them down. We have to shut them down. We have to stop them. Because they, not us, they are bad. They are dangerous. And you end up in an ever-escalating cycle of violence. And this comes from the left. This is a left-wing philosophy. And it is a left-wing philosophy because it is based around the idea of a collective, which in and of itself is a left-wing principle. The left is collectivist. Public ownership of corporations, public administration of services and goods and services, the whole bit. It is socialist because it involves a collective society, and that's where the word social comes from, society. Social science is the study of science, of society. So that's fascism, and that's why all identitarian politics, identity politics, is fascist. This has been around for decades, although in the last couple of years, it has gotten much worse. And that was with the rise of Donald Trump. And don't misunderstand me. I don't think Donald Trump is the savior of the world, of the free world. Donald Trump is an opportunist. I've said it before, and I'll repeat it again. The reason Donald Trump is a president is because Barack Obama looked him in the eye and said, "You are not the president, and I am. And I am now something that you will never be." Oops. So that's Donald Trump. That's why Donald Trump is president. And that is why groups like Antifa refuse fascism. And just so you all know, I'm going to be doing a video about about this as well. A little, and that'll be coming down the line in a little while. Maybe today, maybe Monday. And so Antifa, refuse fascism, Black Lives Matter. On the right, there's the Daily Stormer. There's the group that refers to themselves as the alt-right now. The alt-right now. They're definitely not right. They are just as left as all these other groups that I've listed, because they are they're based on skin color at this point. They're based on race. So racism is a collectivist viewpoint as well. And so you've got left-wing fighting left-wing, and those of us on the right, those of us who don't care about things like race, those of us who don't care about things like feelings, those of us who don't care about feeling good, those of us that care about fact, those of us who care about evidence. And just so you know, evidence-based policy isn't. And I'll do that one some other time. But those of us who do care about evidence to build a logical argument, those of us who believe in individual freedom, and those of us who do not invest our ideology into our identity, or do not identify as our ideology. We do not define ourselves by our ideology. We define ourselves by our actions on the right. And that is why I consistently say that the left is incorrect and the right is the correct ideology. And if somebody gets angry with me, I'm just as likely to say to them, well, don't blame me. Don't have a problem with me. I'm not the one with the incorrect ideology here. And I say that because I don't put my identity into my ideology. I don't invest who I am. I don't invest Stephen Britton as this conservative guy. I'm not actually that conservative. I'm very much like many others, a very much classical liberal. Leave people alone. Live and let live. But the whole point I'm making here is, if you invest your identity into your politics, you're a fascist. And you are acting in a fascist way. If you go out and you beat people up because you disagree with them, you are a fascist. And you are acting in a fascist way. You know, the other day, yesterday, I saw a video on YouTube. Steven Crowder and his producer, Not Gay Jared, great guys, I love the show. They were in Utah at Ben Shapiro's event at the university. And Not Gay Jared went on this undercover sting operation and was talking with the Antifa guys. And they ended up getting a number of them were arrested because these guys were actually handing out weapons. And you can find the video on YouTube. I'll put it into the comments or into the description as well. I'll put a link to it. It's fascinating. But Not Gay Jared, immediately when this started to happen, he got himself out of there, rightly so. And they showed the video to the police. The police took the video and arrested the guys almost instantly, by the way I can see it. And then Steven Crowder and everyone showed the video to the other news agencies that were there. They shared it with them and they said, do you want this? Do you want to use this? This is important. This is news. Not one of those news agencies would pick the video up. Not one of them reported it. Not one of them reported that Antifa was planning to use weapons with violence. Groupthink. We're the media. We're infallible. We don't need Steven Crowder to show us this. We know what's going on. We're not stupid. They don't get it. They don't get it at all. You know, you may not like what I say sometimes, but I'm not going to lie to you. And I'm going to call it as I see it. And so if I see something wrong, I'm going to call it out. So anyway, that's it for me on Friday. It's now 25 after 10. I did start a little bit late, but it sounds like we're rolling now. Have some sound issues. Clean that up, get this thing up on YouTube, get some other bits of work I need to get done. You know, if you want to help me out, you want to make this show better, you want to support what I do, if you like what I do, throw a like up on Facebook. That costs you nothing. You can find me over on Patreon at SC Britain. I think maybe it's just SC Britain over on Patreon. You can sponsor the show if you like. It's greatly appreciated if you do. I don't expect it. I don't require it. The audio show will always be free. And things are going to evolve, I expect, but that's where I'm starting things out. As if the sponsorships go up and as the revenue starts to flow, then we can start upgrading the equipment, improve things a little bit around here. But as I said, it's not mandatory, but it's very much appreciated. So I'll be back on Monday with another audio show, and we got a couple of videos coming up. I got a really graphic intensive one that I'm working on. I've been on this one for a while now. But I've got another one that should be a lot easier to do. I'll try and crank that one out a bit later on today. And, well, failing all else, I'll talk to you Monday. This is Stephen Britton, speaking freely, as always.